Okay, so we will be talking about sand casting, specifically solid casting, which involves single pattern. This was a part in our material manufacturing one lab course, and our sir demonstrated it, our instructor demonstrated it, and we had to first write a report about it, but we didn't have to submit it then because our sir told us that there's a manual that already has that in. But we did get a project for that. I will talk about that project later when we're done with all kind of castings that we did. So let's go on. First, you need to get your essential equipment ready, and ahead is a list of that equipment. So these were the things that they showed us, except the furnace and the molten metal. Therefore, we couldn't really do the pouring procedure, but our sir told us what could happen after. So as you can see ahead, first we have our clay powder, this whitish thing. Then we have sand, normal sand, which we will mix with molasses, and we're going to get our molding sand. Then ahead is our molding board, on top of which that box you see is the molding is one of the molding boxes. It is specifically the drag, and on top of it is our pattern. Then near to the pattern you will see a small material. This is called a gate. I will talk about their purpose in a different video, but let's proceed on with the experiment for now. First, we were taught to mix sand and molasses in a ratio. Sand was supposed to be 90%, molasses was supposed to be 10%, and this was supposed to be an ideal ratio. And our sir told us to keep mixing until we feel that the consistency is like that of rocks, heavy rocks. We had to feel it. I have to attach this photo again because this talks about the placement of the molding board, as well as drag, as well as the pattern, as well as the gate. And as you can see, the pattern and the gate have actually been dipped in clay powder, which in fact is an anti-binding agent, and it is very important because it will prevent the molasses in the molding sand from gripping onto the pattern, preventing the removal of pattern. I want you to keep an eye on the placement of the pattern. See, it is somewhere in the middle, away from the corners of the drag. This is how it's supposed to be. There needs to be space from all four corners. I don't really have a photo of this, but start filling the drag with molding sand halfway. Then you will use a wooden rammer. This is for the initial compression, and this is to ensure that the sand is compact, but make sure you don't exert too much force, otherwise the pattern or the gate could get displaced. And here we are using both corners of the rammer to carry out the ramming procedure. This part was also not recorded, but keep filling it until you reach the top of the drag. Next, you will use an iron rammer to carry out the final ramming procedure of the drag. The more you ram, the more compact your sand will be. Next, you're going to fill your drag with clay powder. Then you can place paper on top of the drag. Now comes the cope part. You're going to take the cope out. You're going to position it on top of that paper. And the paper and the clay powder is to prevent binding of the molding sand in the drag as well as in the cope. And you're going to position the sprue pins the way this is. If you are using paper, it is advisable to take impression of the pattern and the gate that is placed in the drag by using a pencil or a pen. Now, holding on to the sprue pins is very important while you're filling in the sand. So you can get a friend or a buddy to fill the sand while you're holding the sprue pins. And this is how it's supposed to be held. Similarly to what was done with the drag, you will start filling the cope with molding sand halfway. Then you will start ramming with a wooden rammer. After that, you're going to start filling it to the top. And then you're going to use an iron rammer. I again don't have pictures, but you can also use a strike of bar and a roller to make sure the sand is even more compact. And a strike of bar is used to level the sand, and this is a good idea because we don't want excess sand getting in the way. A roller can be used to prevent air bubbles, which can cause porosity in the sand, and that's not a good thing. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to slowly start rotating your sprue pins clockwise, anti-clockwise, and that's how you're going to take them out. And then using a lifter, you're going to clear extra sand that might get into the holes. Now comes the tricky part. You're going to lift the cope and place it beside the drag. And now you're going to flip the drag so it shows something like this. This is very tricky, so be careful. I again don't have pictures of the holding pins, but now you're going to use holding pins and you're going to insert them into the holes of that pattern. You're going to shake the pattern gently, and then that's how you're going to trace the shape of it. And that's how you're going to gently get the pattern out, and then the gate as well. Congratulations, now you have a mold cavity. To smoothen the mold cavity out, you're going to use a lifter, and somehow I have a picture of a lifter here. Anyway, you can see excess sand is being removed from the cavity here. So yeah, this is very important. We don't want sand to get in the way of our molten metal when it's going to be poured into the cavity, so it's better to remove the extra sand. Next, you're going to place the cope on top of that flipped drag, and then you're going to get it ready for the pouring procedure, where you're going to take it to the furnace, I'm pretty sure, and you're going to pour molten metal into it. Then the solidification, shrinkage process, all of this happens, and then you're going to remove the casting to get your final product. This was completely basic, but I hope this helped. I had to get rid of the images. Bye.